I mean, people forget. So 750,000 restaurants in the United States, right? The amount of jobs that supports, and then the support around it, the ancillary
Yep.
businesses, because restaurants aren't standalone. They need a lot of support, whether that's tech, whether that's legal help, whether that's staffing, whether that's packaging and supply. Like all of those industries work together. And I couldn't agree more of the idea, I'm going to wear a white hat and cook food and,
Right.
I'm going to be the world's greatest chef. And that's amazing. If
Yeah.
you can do that,
Yeah.
more power to you. Hell yeah. Right. But it's also, man, no matter what you go to school for, no matter what you're passionate about, there's a way to still work in this industry and do very well.
Attention emerging leaders in food service and hospitality. Are you ready to accelerate your career? If so, join us for the Accelerate Conference on October 22nd through the 24th at the Omni Hotel in Dallas, Texas. Gain insights from over 1,000 collective years of business and leadership experience. Engage in more than 30 focused breakout sessions. Be inspired by 5 empowering general sessions featuring industry experts. Don't miss this opportunity to build valuable connections and elevate your leadership talent to give your business the competitive edge it deserves. Register today at prosperaccelerate.com.
Welcome. We're at the 2025 Prosper Forum, and I'm fortunate enough to have Kirk Grogan here with us from TipHaus. He's COO and co-founder of TipHaus, sponsor of Prosper Forum.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your sponsorship. But wanted to jump in if you could just tell us a little bit about TipHaus and what you guys do.
I sure can. Thank you, Anthony. So we are a end-to-end tip management solution. And what that means is we will integrate directly with your point of sale and your time and attendance platform, and we will allow you to run whatever tip policy that you want at your restaurant that is legal, and we'll allow you to run it over the top. We automate the entire process where we calculate it, we bring it in, we distribute that funds and make sure it gets to the correct hands, and then we will actually pay those funds out as well. So we will move this year just at about $5 billion and ensure that that money is making it back to the employees who earn those tips.
Wow. 5 billion?
5 billion.
Nice.
Yeah. Thank you. It's wild to look at, the growth over the years. That's a number I didn't think we'd reach, and we're there quicker than expected, right?
Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
Thank
That's
you.
great. So, it's, a good description, but if I'm an operator, what's the ideal operator that you guys go after that could really impact?
great question. So we like to say everyone can work with us. We started SMB, and now we have some of the largest hospitality brands in the entire world that are on our platform because we handle complex scenarios. But, a single unit coffee shop, 2 high school girls slinging coffee, they can use this. You could also probably run that tip pool in your head on a piece of paper, on a napkin, whatever it might be. Now, where that becomes valuable to us is if you are operating in 37 states, that has become a complex tip organization, right? Each state has its own tip regulations. You've got to figure out a lot with that. So that is really where we start to thrive. The more complex, whether that is physical volume, whether that is the actual traffic you have, the physical location, whatever it may be, as you get more complex, the liability of tips dramatically increases, right?
Yep. So I work a lot with restaurants on the legal side on compliance and tip pooling and out in California. But what comes up from operators' perspective that I hear a lot too, just the cost of handling money and figuring out and allocating tips. Could you speak towards that?
100%. So, my first job, Anthony, was I started at Chili's at 16 as a host. Worked then as a server at 18, eventually during college, managed wine bars. And I got to see that time of cash becoming the predominant at Chili's. I hand in a tip out report. They do the calculations of credit card versus cash, hand me back the cash, and I walk out with that. Now, 97% of transactions are done on credit cards. Restaurants don't have cash on hand. And to your exact point, the biggest players in the space, they do have the ability to do armored card deliveries. They can keep $50,000 in cash in a safe on site. They can try to make it secure. In reality, most restaurants, that is a massive liability from theft, from employees getting robbed as they're walking out. And the idea that managers may have to run to banks, swap things out, grab cash, all of that has expenses. One of our large groups, and I won't say the name, but as we started working with them, when we automated this and we moved all of their tips digitally, we started paying out their employees every day via tips onto their bank accounts. They started saving, I believe it was $67,000 a month, because most people don't realize handling large amounts of cash with the bank, they will start charging you at a certain point, right? You think a deposit or a withdrawal can be free for X number of reasons. At these scales of hundreds of thousands of dollars a week, of course, banks are making money out of it. So they were paying an exorbitant, about $400 a month per location. You can run the math on how many locations, about 150 spots, right? So, and that was, nothing makes me happier than a day one ROI, right? Yeah. What can we say? Hey, we're going to save you time. We're going to do all these things. But the cash handling phase is so critical because the other caveat to that is employees want their tips today, right? It's always been the industry standard. And so you've got a tough choice. Do I want to pay a lot of money and handle these logistical challenges? Or do I want to find an avenue that I can pay them out and let them see if I pay them every 2 weeks on their paycheck? What's that turnover do, right? Are they going to go to the restaurant next door that still gives them cash daily? So it's kind of a chicken and egg. It's not a good situation on either side for them to handle. And that's where we try to come in and solve.
Cool. It's anybody with tipped employees. Well, and I wanted to ask about the compliance, and I know it gets tricky, but and I know we've talked about this, but do you help with that? Or you've got a system and the operator can set that up and then talk to legal counsel and implement it for each different jurisdiction. I mean, you mentioned states, but I'm thinking of it's coming down to the city level now.
City, county, absolutely, right? So there is I get a reputation for being very, very knowledgeable about tips. I'd say there's one person at this conference that is certainly more knowledgeable, and thankfully I'm podcasting with them right now. So we absolutely do, man. And that's where every state regulation is different. Can you take a tip credit? If you take tip credits, can you still tip out the back of house? If you're doing that, what is the minimum wage that you're required to guarantee? All of these are different. And to your point, cities are different, right? Yeah. Counties are different. And so that is the specialty of where we try to work is we'll consult with you. I will always tell people, hey, I am not your lawyer. I'm not a legal representative, but I can tell you these items. And then, of course, we have great resources like Zaller Law Group, right? That we can pass them to as they need if needed. But it is a fabulous little system because then the clients can just say whatever they want to set those requirements for, and then your software automatically takes care of all that in the background. Absolutely. And you can never have managers take tips, right? Anyone that has hiring, firing, scheduling ability cannot be a part of it. So we can zero that out because we run into a lot of situations. It's often not intentional fraud. It's just mistakes, right? Restaurants are chaotic. And so it's a manager, hey, the server got busy. I'm going to go close out this check for them. That individual guest left a tip on this. I forgot to transfer that to my server back. And now you're out of compliance, right? Now, right out of the gate, now we have a reason to look into this. The audit itself, and we always tell restaurants, like, we keep everything for 7 years for you for tax records. If you win a lawsuit, that's still a lot of money, right? Let's not go down. It's time and money that goes into it. If employees think that you're taking tips from them, it's best to be transparent. It's best to just solve that up front. And so we will always consult with them. We'll work on them on every front of what we can do. But ultimately, the restaurant has to live up to their standards, and they need to have their own legal counsel as well. You guys aren't legal law firm too. But that's great. And that's great. You retain those records, and save that going back 7 years. It's becoming less of an issue, but time records, payroll records on the litigation side, we see that all the time where you don't have the records, or the records are printed out in some box in some storage unit somewhere. That's always fun for people to go through, right? Yeah. As a young attorney, I went through many storage units, but fortunately most everybody's moving away from that, going digital and having this easy to search, easy to go through. Now with AI too, huge you could upload this data set to AI and learn from it too, which is huge. So that piece alone, I am a believer that AI, especially in the hospitality industry, should be supplementary. It should add to the ability to serve these customers, not replace what we already have, right? So we're famous for our customer support. If you ever click a live chat button, in 30 seconds or less, you will have a real human screen sharing with you, asking you what we can do, what the problem you're experiencing is, what your question is, and all of the fun stuff with it. But we're viewing AI in that same record of how do we make sure that we spot trends for you? How do we be proactive for you? Awesome. And for legal issues, how do we make sure that we're scanning to make sure you're legally compliant so we can flag something and say, hey, we don't know what this was precisely, but we know that you need to manually review this because there's an outlier here, right? Cool. That's great. That's awesome. So,
TipHaus, how many employees? Can you tell us about the company right now? How big are you guys?
We are 51 employees. We are fully remote. We were founded in Seattle. That's where all the co-founders were when we started. I have since moved to Dallas. We've all since spread out, but we cover the entire U.S. plus a few international markets that we'll have with it. Serving, I think, just at 6,000 restaurants globally now.
Awesome.
And primarily focus on enterprise now, realistically. Yeah, okay. It's a nice spot that the customization, the user face that we allow them to handle is uniquely suited for groups that are complex, that don't have another solution available to them.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Very cool. Want to get into the one big beautiful bill.
Everyone does.
Yeah, with tips and no tax on tips. So generally, like, how does that impact the industry? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, it's polarizing. It's mischaracterized. It's misunderstood, and including the idea that it will be misunderstood until some of these items are challenged in court, right? And we'll see how that plays out. But right now, obviously, we had a great endeavor that we wanted to ensure the no tax on tips could go forward. We wanted to make sure that we could keep money in these hard-earned pockets. So, you were fortunate, and I really appreciate you jumping in with us to get 4,000 signatures to help advance this, right?
Yeah, no, that was really, I have to give credit to you guys. You or Leaf had the idea to start that petition and really ran with it. That was great.
We definitely wanted to advance. I mean, we're proponents of the industry. All of our employees are from the industry, right? So we know exactly what it means to have that money available. And I'll give a major shout out to my VP of marketing, Tanya. She's the spearheading force of that. But when we look at the bill, so low, I'm going to say people who serve part-time, right? Maybe you're in college and you serve 2 nights a week. You don't really expect to see much because your deductions will already cover, right? You won't see a major earnings back on those tips because you're already not paying taxes on those. The highest earners, relatively low impact as well, right? And these are fine dining restaurants. People often misunderstand that you can be a career server. You can make well into 6 figures because it is a super specialized niche. You're providing amazing service. Where we're still going to determine what's going to happen is in the middle, what I'm going to call the everyday, kind of take your casual American full service restaurant. Most of those individuals are going to earn anywhere between $45,000 a year on the low end, up to $85,000, $90,000, $100,000, depending on your position, what city you work in, et cetera. They will have impact. And typically what we're going to see is that they're going to start saving money on that, right? Your tips will no longer be taxed. Your wages still will, of course, that will play it through. One important piece that I think a lot of people miss with the bill is it must be that you are accepting tips in a customary role pre-2024, right? It is not something that, you can suddenly implement, we're going to start taking tips here, and this will be great. It'll be a wage offset. We'll manage this entire piece. No, that's not how this is. Well, I say that's not how it's going to play. We'll see, right?
Right.
And that's really where it's going to go. From your perspective, I'd love to turn that back to like, what are you seeing in California as far as these individuals go? How are they interacting with it? How are they thinking about it?
Yeah, so actually a lot of confusion around it. So, and how that plays out. And unfortunately, it got politicized.
Of course.
And a little hesitancy for me to jump in on the issue. But the other side to that, Harris supported it. Biden said if that bill crosses his desk, he would sign it. So it's this nonpartisan issue. And it's just saying hardworking Americans should keep more of their money. And for the industry, I thought that was a no-brainer, like support that. And it got sidetracked, because it was Trump tied to it. Some people just instinctively said, I'm not going to support it, unfortunately, because I think these are the hardworking. They're working for this money. And, there's so many fights about minimum wage and stuff. Like, here's a good opportunity
to help offset that, right? To support it. And the idea for me, it's always that tips are a voluntary effort by consumers, right? There's a massive difference in that versus wages. Hey, this is the agreed upon rate. This is what we're doing with it. And so I think those have to be viewed differently. How it plays out, so now we can see, so you earn $30 an hour as a server after wages and tips versus an office job that is $30 an hour. You now have a higher earning at the 30 within restaurants, right? And so I really hope that helps drive people back into restaurants as far as a workforce. You're no stranger to the idea that the restaurant industry is hurting on labor right now. And it's something that we have to keep up. I view restaurants as the quintessential American pastime, right? We love going out, grabbing a burger, grabbing a beer, watching a sports game. going out with family, celebrating these moments. If we aren't able to keep a fabulous workforce in, we start to lose that hospitality function. And that would break the hearts of everyone.
Yep.
And that's really what we love about it. So
yep.
I hope that continues to advance it. Again, there's enough confusion. A lot of these things will have to play out, right?
Yeah.
We'll have to see exactly how they enforce it,
yep.
what their policies are.
Yep, yep. And once you get into the tax code, it gets complicated, as you said,
yeah.
and it's not simple, just no tax on tips. There's some parameters around it. People, yeah. But I mean, so I support the general idea, and we'll see how it plays out. Yep.
Likewise.
Yep.
And, I think it's something, I mean, you mentioned it, that's something that doesn't need to be politicized with it. As both parties were happy with it. Like, the idea here is I want more elevation into middle class, right? As a nation, I want people to be making more money. We need to get a lot of these items back on track. We're fortunate here at Prosper to hear from amazing speakers. And they'll walk you through exactly what the actual economic forecast of this looks like in the labor force. We need to staff up, right? We need to get going.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great. Let's talk about the Prosper Forum a little bit and how your experience has been at the forum. And then TipHaus has a couple of accelerators now, right?
Yeah. We sure do.
Tell us about that.
So, Prosper Forum blew us away last year. Interesting roundabout way we got here is we were headquartered in Seattle, as I mentioned. The founder of Prosper is also right there in Seattle, David Job. And so met him. Somehow he managed to convince us that this was a good use of a lot of proceeds of our conference budget. And, we showed up. We had no idea what to expect. I didn't have any clue as to what this conference would be. I thought it would be this small. Okay, well, we'll show up. We'll try to make a networking deal out of something and try to make some ROI. Loved everything I saw. So I went back home. I communicated. Amazing team here at Prosper. So Luke, David, Justine, James, all of them are fabulous to work with. And I reached out and said, hey, team, truthfully, I would like to move my conference budget from 3 or 4 of these large conferences that we go to Prosper. I want to sponsor. I want to get in with you all. How do we do this? And great team that said, tell us what you're thinking. We'll work with you. There's not a predefined plan to it, which I loved, is tell us what you need, and we're going to craft that and work with you.
Yeah.
So that was exceptional. I was an accelerator last year. Great experience to go through. You get to meet and mingle. It's a more intimate setting, smaller groups that you get to work with, in addition to the conference at large. This year, we were fortunate enough to send our president of financial service and our CTO into that accelerator program. Both have had just exceptional things to say about the group, about the idea that they really, I don't know the word for it, the administrators of the group, right? The people who help schedule and facilitate that entire process. Overly communicative. They give multiple opportunities for meetings. Hey, we're all going to group up and we're going to chat about our experience. But you don't see that at almost any other conference. And this is when I canceled a contract with another conference company that we were working with. I kind of mentioned straight up with it is, we spend a lot of money with you all, and it feels like we do all of the work, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the template. You're going to pay for power. You're going to ship your booth. You're going to set up, and we're going to use people when they break things down. You're going to have things broken and stolen, and it's a whole mess. Yeah. Prosper is the group that I really genuinely believe, like, y'all take that effort, right? Justine will reach out to me. Who can I introduce you to? David will say, hey, Kirk, I know you were chatting with this group. This group's very similar. Come and meet them, right? And you just feel the hospitality, right? Yeah. It's always back to that industry, that there is something about that personal connection. Looking someone in the eye, shaking hands. All of the decision makers of every major hospitality brand are within a 50-foot radius of us right now,
You know what's unique about it? We don't have any booths or anything like that. And then the operator to supplier ratio is 3-to-1.
Agreed.
And so it's unique. And I was just talking to somebody at lunch today, actually, just the quality of people here too. Yeah. Professional, the way we dress, everybody's, and it's not a conference going around handing out business cards.
No,
you're looking to develop relationships.
The best part about it, and I was telling my team as we come, and I said, just be mindful. This isn't a sales conference. This is a learn. This is a grow. This is an educate. This is a network. And by all means, sales and business happens here, but it happens here because of a personal relationship you build. And that trust is what allows sales to occur later, right? Yep. And a month from now, I have zero doubt that I will have already paid this conference off, right? And it's just how it is. Every time we've come up to these, it immediately pays for itself. But it's the idea that you don't have to have your guard up. And I feel everyone here, there are CEOs of multi-billion dollar companies all around, but no one has their guard up, right? You're approachable. They want to chat. Hey, let's go grab a beer. Tell me about what you're doing. And that, again, I can't. For me, we go, I spend 120 days a year on the road. I do about 25 conferences a year. Prosper is the one I'm looking forward to. It's marked on my calendar every year. It's where I'm excited for. And I'm really excited about the Dallas show this year as a Dallas native here.
Accelerate. Yes, that's great. Good lead into that. So coming up in October, that's the first year we're doing that. And I was just telling you before we started rolling, we're doing that primarily because we're running out of space here at the Forum. And we're maxed out at the Ritz here at Amelia Island.
Yep.
We've got rooms down the street, 200 rooms down the street at the Omni, just kind of capped. And the accelerators, each year, the alumni want to come back, but we've had to say no, and we hate saying no to people because if we're third year into it and, 335 accelerators now. And if we had them all come back, they'd fill up all the rooms. So this is the way to open that up. Plus, we've got a wait list to become an accelerator as well. And this is really opening it up so that we could have people that haven't been able to become an accelerator to attend, start learning, get into the ecosystem at the Accelerate conference. Yeah.
Talk about a great problem to have, right?
Yeah.
How do you know that this conference really delivers value is because we have wait lists. We have to say no to people. Right? Name another conference in the world. I still get sales calls the day before. Hey, I noticed you weren't registered. I want to extend you a late bird pricing, right? I'd love to get you down. It's the opposite here, right? I mean, you are booked out, and I'm so excited to see. I mean, Dallas is known for space, right? Yeah. It's always got that room. We always will welcome and love people to jump on in with it. So I am thrilled to see it. I would love to explore, how Prosper can continue to grow. This is a very executive-heavy conference, right? Very decision-making individuals, wonderful industry leaders here. And I would love to see that continue to broaden, bring more people in. You discussed, what you can do to help the school generation as you're going, and would you touch on that? Because I'm actually curious to learn with it.
Yeah, so we've got 11 students here at the Forum, actually, the part of the Catalyst program, and we've got some. Actually, I haven't talked a lot about it, but we've got some plans to grow that too.
Oh, exceptional.
But we're working with a few huge universities, UNLV, Cal Poly Pomona. Cool. James Madison, just to name a few, and looking to get into that. And part of it too, the concept I had there in my mind, the tech companies in Silicon Valley begged Stanford to get into their computer science engineering class and teach those students so they could get those contacts. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, we've got all these great students in these hospitality colleges and on management side, on culinary side, on business side, the executive, and we've had this request by the executives attending the forum. How can we get more connection with these students, the up and coming talent? And this is our way of doing that, creating that, and building that out.
I love that. I mean, and we talk, the pipeline of getting labor force into it, making sure there's pride in this industry, that there's talent in this industry, not just a quantity, but in quality, of course, is thinking about how do we develop that? How do we remove friction and allow it to be an easy path for them to progress forward? Because it can be rocky and messy right now. There's not a lot of people helping to cultivate that talent. It's becoming something you're going to spend a lot of money for a gamble, right? You don't want that gamble. And I think here at Prosper, if y'all are able to make that a streamlined approach, you're able to bring that talent in. You have your own pipeline of people you're developing, you're showcasing, you're ensuring that they have opportunities and they're in demand. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah, no, it's cool. And then actually, it's a good reminder. I keep saying too, a lot of people have this narrow concept of the hospitality industry. If I'm going to go into hospitality, I'm going to become a chef, open a restaurant. But you guys are a prime example. Both of us, actually. Absolutely. Tech and being a lawyer, this industry, all the different routes and opportunities that are available.
People forget. So 750,000 restaurants in the United States, right? The amount of jobs that supports. And then the support around it, the ancillary businesses, because restaurants aren't standalone. They need a lot of support, whether that's tech, whether that's legal help, whether that's staffing, whether that's packaging and supply. Like, all of those industries work together. And I couldn't agree more of the idea, I'm going to wear a white hat and cook food and I'm going to be the world's greatest chef. And that's amazing. If you can do that, more power to you. Hell yeah, right? But it's also, man, no matter what you go to school for, no matter what you're passionate about, there's a way to still work in this industry and do very well. Right?
Yeah. Cool. Any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
Oh, man, I just want to thank you again for having me on and B, setting up Prosper with me. And I know you're a major contributor to this whole program. So, no, I would say, if you're ever in need of help for tips, even if it's questions, I am not not a strong sales force, right? I am happy to give my cell phone a call and I will answer. Ask me if this is the best way to set up a tip pool. If you're not a customer of mine, I will tell you the exact same thing I'll tell a customer. You don't need to work with us. I don't ever want to see a restaurant shut down from tip liabilities or legal action. So let us know how we can help. We're always here. We're here to support this.
Great.
industry.
It's a great service to the industry and great supporter for the Prosper Forum. So appreciate
Mutual, man.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being on the podcast.
Of course. Thank you for having me.